about what we are going to learn for today. So we are going to learn about the IGCSE biology syllabus. So let me show you the contents. So in this biology syllabus, right, is about, it's contained about 21 topics. Yeah, so what you are going to learn is starting for the cell, okay, the cell structures. You're going to learn about the living organism, the characteristic of the living organism, and also you learn about the biological molecule, okay, which is the fats, the proteins, and also the DNA. And then you will learn about the plant and also in the humans, but will be taught more about in the human as compared to the plant, right? So that's why the human, right, include the mechanisms in the humans, for example, like the transport, okay, which is you will learn about our circulatory system, and then you learn about our immunity and the respirations, excretions, and also the reproduction. Is a very long topic, and then you learn about the genetic, and also the inheritance. So so generally this is all about the 21 topics, okay. And then you will need about at least 1 year, 1 year to complete the topics. And so your mom go send you this note, right? This chapter 1 notes.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So so we're going to start now, okay? So in this chapter 1, we are going to learn about what is really biology, and also we're going to learn about the characteristic of the living organisms. So what make the things become a living organisms is like they have about 7 characteristics, okay? And then you can remember it this way. Merce green, this one. This is a mnemonic on how you to memorize about it. So you have about what? Movements, okay? Movements. So which is referred to the organism, right? They can move from, they can change their position, right, from this place and then move to another place. So this requires movements. And then we also learn about respirations. So for the respirations, right, we talk about what? We talk about the any kind of chemical reactions that happens in our body cell. So take note, this respirations is different from the breathing. Okay, we learned the breathing before, right? Well, which is breathe in the oxygens and breathe out the carbon dioxide. So it's a difference, right? Because when we talk about this respiration, right, we talk about this is kind of process which is happen in our body cell, in all of our body cell. So you can read on the keyword, and then when we talk about biology, right, it's very important that you need to understand what kind of keyword that you write in your answer so you can get the mark. Okay, for example, in this respiration, the keyword is about what? The keyword is about the chemical reactions. Reactions, chemical reactions. And then breakdown. What's mean by breakdown? Something like breakdown, okay? I'm not sure, Emma, but you know about Mandarin, right?
About what?
你可以讲中文对吗？中文。
可以。
OK，这样有时候我会用中文跟你讲一下比较好，要吗？
行的。
Okay, so breakdown means what? 分解. Breakdown is called as 分解. Neutral molecule is referred to, for example, glucose, okay? Glucose, fats, lipid, any kind of proteins, which is those neutral molecule found in the food that we consume every day. So you can see this process, right, is happen in our living cell, and then to release energy for the metabolism. Okay, I know you feel like, wow, it's a long sentence, right? Look like a lot of things to memorize, but you don't need to memorize. You just need to understand first, okay? Understand first. So actually, respiration, right, it refers to what? It refers to that. For example, right, this is a body cell. Okay, this is a body cell, and then inside the body cell, right? Body cell is called our 身体细胞. For example, our liver cell, bone cell, muscle cell, those are cells in our body. And then this is a cell, and then the cell, right, they have what?
Nucleus?
Yeah, it's the nucleus. Yeah. So what I found inside the nucleus? The DNA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Inside the nucleus, we have the DNA. Yeah, you have DNA. Okay. So good. You know about the nucleus. And then there's an important organelles found in the cell. We call it what? Mitochondria. Have you heard of this kind of organelle before?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is the mitochondria, right? It look like a sausage for me. So that's why mitochondria, they will do these respirations. It's very important to know, you should know that the respiration process, right, all are happen inside the mitochondria. Okay, so they are happen inside this mitochondria. So what's about this respiration? Okay, just imagine, okay, Emma, maybe you just having your lunch, right? Okay, so what do you eat in lunch? Maybe you eat the rice, correct? The rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so rice are inside, they contain what kind of the nutrient molecule? Starch. Okay, so after you eat the rice, you chew the rice and then you swallow the rice, and then the rice will enter to the stomach and get intestine tracts. And then along when the food, right, they pass along your intestine tracts, they'll break down by the enzyme. They'll break down by enzyme, secret out. Yeah, so that's why the starch will be break down into what? Glucose. Yeah, glucose. Which is
Yeah.
we call as what? 葡萄糖. Okay, glucose, 葡萄糖. So that's why from the rice to the glucose, right, is break down by the enzyme. Yeah, enzyme. So glucose, okay, glucose is a, we call as what? Simplest unit. Glucose, right, is a simplest nutrient molecule found in our body. So it's just like this 6 carbon molecule. It's a 6 carbon molecule, right? So that's why the glucose will be released to our bloodstream. So that's why your blood glucose level will increase after you just having your meal. Your blood glucose level will increase. So that's why the glucose, right, they will just diffuse into your body cell later. Yeah, they will just get into your body cell, and then they will just enter to your mitochondria. Glucose will diffuse to any kind of your body cell, including your muscle cell, your liver cell, your skin cell, any kind. So because those body cells, they require the glucose as their food source. So that's why when the glucose, right, they enter into your body cell, they'll just get into mitochondria, okay? So mitochondria is the one who conduct the respirations. So what the mitochondria will do, okay? So together with the oxygens, right? Oxygen, okay, because when you do the inhalations, you inhale the oxygens, and also the oxygen will also diffuse into your body cell. Yeah, oxygen will be transported by your red blood cell, right? And then they will just reach your body cell. So together with the input of the oxygens and glucose, right, you know about this equation. I'm not sure, but maybe you learned this equation before. Let me show it to you. Okay, it's like this: glucose plus the oxygens. Glucose plus oxygens, and then it will release the carbon dioxide and water. You learned about this equation before, right? You see this before?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's the first time to listen about this equation, okay? So this is very important equation that you should know. This equation, right, which is glucose and plus oxygen, referring to the body cell, okay? This body cell, they'll just intake the oxygens, and then they'll just intake glucose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the mitochondria, right? Okay, this is, they'll do the respiration. So this equation is about what? It's about the cellular aerobic respiration. Okay, let me type this down. Cellular aerobic respirations. Yeah. In 华语 called as what? 细胞有氧呼吸。有氧呼吸 because it requires the input of the oxygen. So actually you are using the oxygen, right, to break down the glucose. So the glucose is a compound, okay? It's a neutral molecule. So inside this glucose, right, they actually store the chemical energy. So after the oxygen break down the glucose, right, they'll release they'll release the energy stored inside glucose. So the glucose will break down and then they'll release the energy. Okay, energy, 能量. So that's why this energy will be supplied to our body cell. Yeah, so later this energy, right, okay, after they be released, they will just supply to our body cell. To the cell. Okay, why? It's because body cell, they require energy input to do their work. Okay, I mean that for example, right, the muscle cell, they require energy to do the contraction and relaxations. Yeah. So energy to the cell, right? It's just like we as a human, we need money. Okay. So for the body cell, right? Energy is just like the money. So because we as a human, we cannot survive without money. Can we survive without money? Cannot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so same to
Cannot.
the body cell, right? Body cell also cannot survive without energy. They need the energy input to carry out their cellular activity. I refer to all kind of body cell. Okay, I mean that all body cell in our body, right? They require energy input. So we only can get energy from where? We only can get energy from the respirations. Yeah, so this is respiration. Okay, so now you understand the process. So you know that this, okay, so you know what I mean by chemical reaction, because it's happened in our body cell, right? So they are using the oxygen to break down the neutral molecule. So in the case just now, right, it will break down the glucose. Yeah, the glucose, the 葡萄糖. So the glucose is being break down, and then you will release energy. 释放能量, okay? So for the metabolism, so this metabolism, right, it calls what? 代谢. So metabolism is referred to the all kind of chemical reactions that happen in our body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Chemical reaction, for example, like you know, respiration is just one of it. Respiration is just one of the metabolism, and other kind of the chemical reaction, including what? Digestions, any kind of the process. Okay, so Emma, I think later I'll share this note for you. Yeah, I hope it will help to improve your understanding. Okay, let me show you my note. This one, okay. Actually, I do make the dual language for the notes. Okay, one is a pure English, and then one is with the Mandarin translations. But I think most of the students from the China, right, they like this kind of notes, which is with the English and then with the Mandarin. Well, I'm not sure you prefer what kind of notes, but it's okay. Later I'll just send to you. Okay, later I'll send to you. So this
Okay.
yeah, I want to show about this is the metabolism, right? So this is because all chemical reactions that occur in the body. So actually you have about two type of metabolism. Okay, you have about the catabolism and the anabolism. You definitely will learn this in your biology lesson later. Okay, so that's why this is a catabolism, right? So catabolism just like crack, okay? Just like it's a chemical reaction that will break down the large molecule, become what? Become the small molecule. Yeah, see? They've just, for the large molecule, right, break down become small molecule. Okay. And then for the anabolism, right, just like build up. So they are actually using the neutral molecule, right, to connect them together. So they will want to produce a large complex molecule. Yeah, so that's why this process, right, okay, whenever you break down the large molecule, you will release energy. So take for example, respirations, which is include breaking down of the glucose molecule, and then to release energy, right? So respiration is respiration is belong to the catabolism, right? Respiration, they are belong to the catabolism. It's a kind of chemical reactions categorized under catabolism because it involves in breaking down of the glucose molecule to release energy, right? You agree with me? Yeah. And then anabolism, right? Okay, take for example, right? For example, our body cell, okay, we will need to build some product. For example, we require the input of the amino acids, okay, amino acid to build up the product, okay, for example, like the proteins. So this is known as an anabolism. So this will be two kind of the metabolism happen in our body. So later we'll learn more, okay? Later we'll learn more. So yeah, so this is our notes, okay? So we go back. Okay, that's all for the restrictions. So this is about the aerobic restrictions. So you can see the equation. So actually this is a balanced chemical equation. Sometimes the question they'll ask you like this, okay? State the balance chemical equations. So that's why you require what? C6H12O6. Okay, this is what? C6H12O6. This is about the glucose. Emma, do you learn chemistry? Haven't started?
Yeah.
Oh, you start learning chemistry already?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what is mean by O2?
Oxygen.
Yes, CO2 is carbon dioxide, right? And H2O is water. So this is what you need to write about the chemical reactions. Chemical equations for the LB restrictions. And then please remember to balance the chemical equation. You just need to put 6 in front, and then you can make it become balanced already. Okay, that's all for the restrictions. So actually you have about 2 types of the restriction, right? But I'm not going to discuss more because this you are going to learn in another few topics. So actually you have about restriction. Okay, I mean there will be 2 kind of restrictions. One called what? The LB. Okay, the LB. This is we call as a LB restrictions. So the LB restriction, right? That means that this respiration they just happen in the presence of the oxygens. And then the NLB restriction, right? They refer to this process is happen in the absence. Means it's without oxygens. So you can see the glucose, okay, they are being break down without oxygens. So they'll become what? Lactic acids. And then they'll also release energy. So this is we call as what? Fermentation. In why it calls 发酵, okay, fermentation, 发酵. So when you talk about this one fermentation, right, it refers to the respiration happen in the absence of the oxygens. And then you have another kind of respiration, right, called what? Alcoholic fermentations. So that's why this glucose is being break down, okay, to release the ethanol, okay, ethanol. This one, ethanol and carbon dioxide and the energy. So this is example of the anaerobic respirations. So that's why if you compare to the aerobic and anaerobic respiration, right, you can realize that the anaerobic respiration, okay, they release lesser energy. Okay, they release lesser amount of energy. But the aerobic respiration, right, they just release more energy. Okay, release more energy. So that's why the restrictions, I mean, most of our body cell, right, we will do this aerobic restriction because we want to get more energy in the presence of the oxygens. Okay, that's all for the restrictions. And then now we'll talk about another one we call sensitivity. Okay, so what's meant by sensitivity? It refers to our nervous system, our nervous system and our hormones. So help us to coordinate with the surrounding environments. So sensitivity, right, it refers to the ability of our body to detect or sense the stimuli in the internal or the external environments, and we can make an appropriate response towards the stimuli. So what's meant by stimuli? Stimuli because, for example, like your body, where your body can sense the change in the temperature. They can feel cold or hot. So when they feel hot, right, okay, they will just tend to open their air cons. When they feel cold, they will just tend to stay in the house and then make them become warmer. So that's why this is called stimuli. Okay, stimuli. Or sometimes you feel pain. Pain also kind of stimuli. And then the stimuli, right, you can generate from where? From the internal or the external environments. So the internal environment, right, they are referring to our body, the environments in our body. For example, our body, right, they will try their best to maintain their balance in their blood pH. Okay, blood pH. And they will try their best to maintain the concentration, okay, the balance in the concentration of the carbon dioxide in the blood. So this is called internal. Okay, internal refer to what? 身体内部调节. And then the external environments are refer to your body can sense the change in the surrounding temperature. And then you make the response, okay, appropriate response. So this is called sensitivity. And then we talk about the growth, okay, growth. Growth is just very simple. So Emma, okay, I'm not sure how old are you, but I think you are around 11, 12, I think. So you're getting taller and taller, right?
Yeah,
you're getting taller. And then why you're getting taller and taller is because your body will just grow, okay? They will just increase their size and dry mass. Size means what? Means that your body cell, right, they can increase in their size. For example, like this, from smaller, right, they can become bigger in their size. And then they can increase their dry mass, okay? Dry mass. Dry mass. Dry mass is referring to the weight. without include the water contents. Yeah. So dry mass. So that's why how you can get the dry mass for a certain object. For example, how you can get the dry mass from the leaf, right? You need to put the leaf, right, and then you need to put that under the sun. So that's why the sun will just bring away the water content inside the leaf, and then you need to wet the leaf. So that's why this is called dry mass, because it refers to the weight without any water contents. So that's why how you're able to grow. Okay, you growing taller and taller, and also you are going heavier and heavier, because the body cell in your body, I mean the body cell, right, which is found inside your body. For example, your bone cell, for example, your bone cell, your skin cell, and then any kind of your cell, your liver cell, yeah, the liver cell, muscle cell, they are actually increasing their cell number. Okay, increase the cell number, which is they increase their number, become more and more, because you're just growing taller and taller, heavier and heavier. And also they can increase their cell size. Yeah, they can increase their cell size, which is from a small size cell, right, they become a large size cell. So this is grow. Okay, that's all. And now we'll talk about reproductions, right? It's very interesting. Reproduction, let me show you about this thing. Okay, so this is about the requires the sensitivity. Okay, so you can see, right, our skin, okay, our skin, they consist a lot of the receptor. Okay, there's a receptor. Receptor is just like a kind of the something like 接收器啊. So that's why they're just lying under your skin, right? And then they can detect any change in the environments. So whenever there's a stimuli, okay, stimuli will be transmit to the receptor. So that's why the function of receptor is they can detect the stimuli. So after the receptor detects stimuli, they will transmit the signal. So they can generate the electrical signal. Okay, electrical signal. This is because electrical signal. And then this kind of signal, they will just transmit to the spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord. Through the nerve. Okay, so you can see to the nerve. Nerve is called what? 神经元 nerve. And then they will just transmit to the afferent nerve and then reach your muscle. So this muscle is an effector. Okay, effector organs. So effector means what? Effector refers to the organ itself. They can bring the response. Yeah, they can produce a response. For example, if your hand, okay, touch the hot cutter, you feel very hot, right? And then your muscle, right, will withdraw away from the cutter. So this is kind of the sensitivity. Okay, and then okay, I want to talk about this one. Sexual and the asexual reproductions. So you can see in the left side, right, it's about what? In the left side is about the asexual reproductions. So here is the asexual reproductions, and then here is the sexual reproductions. So that's why the asexual reproduction, right, they are actually a kind of reproductions which does not involve in the sperm or the ovum. They are just required to do their nuclear divisions, which is called as what? Mitosis. Emma, have you heard of mitosis before? Mitosis.
No.
细胞分裂, okay? Because 细胞分裂 mitosis. So another term we can know as also a binary fissions. We can call this as a binary fission also. Yeah. So which is from one cell, right? They can just divide, okay, to become two cells. So you can see this is a one cell, just like this. This is a one cell, right? And then here is a. So Emma, what is this? What do you think about this one? The thread-like structures.
I'm not sure.
Okay, it's a DNA, okay, which is found inside the mucus. Yeah, it's a DNA. So that's why DNA, right, they can be replicated. 基因可以被复制，听过吗？基因是可以被复制的。DNA they can be replicated. So that's why we call it what? DNA replications. DNA replication, 基因复制. So that's why they'll become from one copy, right? They become two copies. So you can see that there's two copy here. Just like you are water stat, the DNA become two copy. So that's why after the DNA being replicated, they will just do the nuclear division. So this is actually belong to the nuclear divisions. Nuclear division. Okay, nuclear divisions. Let me write down nuclear divisions. So that's why the nucleotide, they can divide into two DNA copy. Yeah, two DNA copy, okay? And then there will be the cross-wall formed in the middle. This is they want to divide their cytoplasm. They want to just divide the cytoplasms. So they will just become two daughter cells. So this is process happen in the binary fissions, or we call as mitosis. So which is referring to when there's a one parent cell, just one cell, right? They will undergo the cell divisions by doing the DNA replications, becoming two daughter cell. So that's why the daughter cell, they are being produced by the mitosis. They are genetically identical to their parent cell. Okay, they are genetically identical to the parent cell. 为什么 genetically identical? So which is from their gene, right? 就是说通过这个基因来讲they are totally same to their parents, just totally same to their parents. 就说它那个基因和这个 parent cell 完全是一模一样because they are undergo mitosis. So you can see, right, this is example of mitosis. So your lizard, okay, they just can grow their new tail, okay, and then the yeast, right, they can do the budding. So this is actually the process in the yeast budding. Means that the yeast, right, they can increase their number through the mitosis. And then this showing about what? This showing about the prototis, right? The prototis, they just undergo the cell divisions from one become two. From one parent cell become two cell. So this is called what? 细胞分裂, okay? 细胞分裂. So which involve in the DNA replications, the nuclear divisions, and the division of the cytoplasms. And then now we talk about the sexual reproduction. So Emma, see, here is the sexual reproductions, right? So these sexual reproductions, right? Okay, Emma, have you heard about this? I mean, have you looked at this cell before? Have you seen this cell before? What is this?
A sperm?
Yeah, it's a sperm, right, which is in the male only. Then how about this one? Okay.
I don't know.
This is actually the ovum, your egg cell. Okay, the ovum. Yeah, 卵子. So that's why the sperm, they can fuse with the ovum, undergo what? Fertilizations, okay? Fertilizations, these are 受精. So after the cell, I mean the sperm, right, they can fuse with the ovum, they can produce what? Zygote. So this was zygote. You can see, right, this one. It's a ball cell, right? This is also known as zygote. Or sometimes we call it what? Embryo. Okay, embryo. Zygote or embryo. So later this embryo, right, okay, they can undergo the divisions and the differentiation, they become the human baby. Okay, so this is called what? Sexual reproductions, which involve in the fusion of the sperm and the ovum to produce a diploid zygote. So this diploid zygote, they will undergo mitosis and they will become a human baby. So Emma, this is how you are being produced. Okay, so you are just a cell, Emma. Initially, right, okay, you are just a cell, okay, due to, I mean, which is a diploid zygote, okay. So this zygote, right, is the product of the fusion between the sperm and the ovum. So that's why after the sperm and ovum, they undergo the fertilizations, they will produce a zygote, okay. So later this zygote, right, they undergo what? They undergo cell divisions, okay. So they will produce a ball of cell, become the embryo. So later the embryo, right, they can just further grow and differentiate it, and then they will become the human baby. So this is how you are being produced. So you are actually a product of the sexual reproductions. Okay. So this is sexual reproductions. Okay, that's all. And then I'll talk about what? Excretions. Okay, excretion referring to what? The removal of the organism, okay, from the organism of the toxic material. So what's mean by toxic material? Toxic material is usually refer to the waste product in your body, okay, waste product. So the waste product is produced as a result of the metabolism. So that's why when our body, they will do a lot of chemical reactions, right? Okay, they will just produce the waste product. Take for example, respiration, okay, they will just release the carbon dioxide, right? So this carbon dioxide is a kind of the waste product, right? It's a kind of waste product. So it will just excrete by the exhalations. So usually the waste product is being produced, okay, during the metabolisms, and then and substance of in excess of requirements. So which is if your body, right, they discover there's excess substance, okay, accumulate in our body, they will just try their best to excrete out. So example of waste product including what? Example of waste product, right, including the take for example, okay, you should know about the carbon dioxide, okay, then you should know about urea. Urea is a result of the protein metabolism. Urea because what? 尿素 So urea are in the urine, okay? In the urine. And then you have what? Mineral salt, okay? You have a mineral salt. 就是说身体会排出多余的盐分your body will access the salt. Maybe by sweating, and also feces, you have a feces also. So those are the waste products. And then now we talk about the nutrition, right? It refers to the taking in of material for energy, growth, and development. So you can see this is nutrition. Yeah, this involves taking of the energy, growth, and development. So, okay, we talk about nutrition, right? It's different in the plant and in the humans. So the plant, right, their nutrition requires what? They are known as this one. This is their nutrition, okay? You can refer to this not. Yeah. So actually there will be two types of nutrition. Because what? Autotroph and heterotroph. So this is the autotroph. And then this is the heterotroph. So autotroph referring to what? The organism, they can produce their own food. Take for example, plant. Okay, all kind of plant, right, they will be the autotroph or producer. Okay, it's because of plant, right, they can do what? To produce their own food. So what kind of process will be? Yeah, well done is photosynthesis, right? And then why the plant they can do the photosynthesis, but not us? Why we cannot do photosynthesis? Because we don't have the kind of organelles known as the organelle found in the plant. They can carry the photosynthesis. Chloroplast. Yeah, it's chloroplast. Okay. So inside the chloroplast, we have what? Inside chloroplast, you have a chlorophyll, okay? Chlorophyll. So that's why the chlorophyll, they can absorb the light energy. So they can convert them, become a chemical energy. So that's why we talk about the photosynthesis, right? You can look about this equation, okay? Sorry, what is the equation? Let me show you. So later you can refer to this note, okay? So usually this note, right, they just summarize the important note. Important keyword. So that's why you can just read and then you can try to memorize the keyword. Just read on this. It will be more direct for you. So let me show the equation for the photosynthesis. Is there equation for here? So have a look. Emma, this is an equation for the photosynthesis. So you can see this is the carbon dioxide, right? The carbon dioxide plus the water. Yeah. So you can see the photosynthesis is compared to respiration, right? Just different. In the respiration just now, we are actually taking what? We take the glucose and oxygen, right? We take in the glucose, take in the oxygen, and then we'll release the carbon dioxide and water. But the photosynthesis, they just do in opposite way. The plant, they will absorb the carbon dioxide and they'll just take in water. And then together with sunlight, they'll just absorb sunlight and also with the chlorophyll, so they can produce the glucose and then release the oxygen. So this is different if the plant compared to the animals. Right. So that's why you should know the relationship between the plant and the animals. For example, in the animal, right, we do respirations. We will release the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. We release the carbon dioxide and water to the atmosphere. So that's why they'll be increasing the carbon dioxide level in our atmosphere. So that's why how the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can be get rid of. So it's by the plant. Because plant is only the producer, right? They can absorb the carbon dioxide. Plant is only the organism that just take in the carbon dioxide. And then they'll just convert this carbon dioxide to something which is very useful, which is it will just make the glucose, okay? Make the glucose. So this is the photosynthesis, okay, which is the kind of process that plant, they just take in the carbon dioxide and the water together with the sunlight and the chlorophyll to make the glucose, and then they just release the oxygen. So oxygen, okay, will be released to the atmosphere, and then we as a human, right, okay, we can just take in the oxygen during the inhalations. Okay, are you clear about this one? The relationship between human and animal. So that's why we are related to each other. Okay, so not only the plant, just remember, Emma, any kind of the living organism, if they contain the chloroplast and chlorophyll, they can just do the photosynthesis. For example, in the algae, okay, algae is not plant. Algae is known as the prototist. It's called prototist. So 青苔, okay, algae, and then some bacteria and some phytoplankton, because they have a chlorophyll in their structures, right? So that's why they can do the photosynthesis. They can do the autotrophic nutrition. Okay, that's all. And then now we talk about heterotroph nutrition. So we refer to us, okay, because we doesn't make our own food, right? Yeah, we don't have the chloroplast, chlorophyll. So yeah, actually depend on the external food source. We need to eat. We need to eat and drink. So this is applied in all animals, okay? And also fungi and most of the protozoa and most bacteria. So definitely it depends on the external food source, okay? Yeah, that's all. Because we cannot make their own food. So this is, we talk about nutrition, okay? And then we could go back to read about the sentence structure. So you refer to the taking in the materials, okay? Take in the material. For example, in the human, right, we take in the glucose and oxygens. For the energy, we take the glucose because we want to get the energy, right? The 能量. So that's why, and then we can use the energy for our growth and development. So we can use the energy, right, to build up something. For example, the amino acids become the protein product, which is I refer to this one. We can use the energy, right, to build up something. Refer to this one. This is the anabolism. So this anabolism, right, which is from the small monomer, right, they can become the large macromolecule, large molecule. They actually require the energy input. They require energy input. So for the plant, right, yeah, they require the sunlight, carbon dioxide, water. And then for the animal, right, we always need the input of the organic compound, which is the glucose. Organic refer to what? Yes? Yeah, I thought you were asking question just now. I heard some sound. Okay. Okay, so this is organic. Organic compound because what? 有机物质的 organic. You have organic or inorganic, right? So organic is 有机物质. Later we'll learn more what's meant by organic. It's actually a carbon-based compound, okay? It's a carbon-based. 碳基 carbon-based. And then they usually need the water. Okay, so we already finished learning about these 7 characteristics of the living organism. And then this is very important, okay? And then let me try some question, okay? Can we try some question?
Yeah.
The question, this is for the IGCSE questions, the actual past here. Let me show you. Okay, take for example, this one. Okay. So Emma, let us read this question together. Some yeast, sugar, and water are mixed in the test tube. Okay, and then the diagram show in the test tube at start and after 1 hour. So you can see, right, this is the yeast and sugar and water. So once you mix those components together, right, so after 1 hour, they can release the bubble gas. So what is the process about this one? It is a growth or reproductions or respirations or sensitivity. Which one? Maybe you can think. C. Yeah, well done. What do you think? Okay, why do you think it's respirations?
Because
Because
the
gas.
as a chemical change.
Yeah, it's a chemical change. Okay, chemical reactions, right? And then what do you think about this? The gas. Okay, what do you think of this one? Gas. What is the gas? What kind of gas is being released during respirations?
Carbon dioxide.
Well done. It's a carbon dioxide. You're so smart. So that's why this is talking about this one. Okay, actually, just I didn't show you. Yeah, they're just referring to this one. The fermentations. Okay, the alcoholic fermentations, which is performed by the yeast. So you can see this is a fermentations, you require the yeast, okay, yeast and also the sugar and also the water, right? Emma, do you make the bread before? Do you make the bread before?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So that's why just remember, right? You put the flour, okay, flour together with like water, and then you could put the yeast inside, and then you can add some sugar, right? So that's why they will do what? They will do the yeast multiplication. So you can see, right, the yeast, right, they can just multiply to produce more and more yeast. So actually, this yeast multiplication is called asexual reproduction. So this is an example of the asexual reproduction. Okay, so which is the yeast that they can reproduce to grow, to increase in their number of the yeast. And then during the process, right, actually this is kind of restorations. So which is the yeast, right, they can do what? They can do this alcoholic fermentations. They'll just break down the glucose, and then they should release the carbon dioxide, okay? Then they will just release this one ethanol, the ethanol. So this carbon dioxide, they will just, what they will do? They will just increase the dose level, just like this. So you can see, right, the dough, right, they just expand increase in size. Okay, because this is the product of the restorations, okay, which is the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide, they can help to raise the dough level. So you can make a bread, okay, you can make this one bread. So you can see, right, there's some air hole inside the bread. So this is due to the restorations effect of the yeast. And also, not only making the bread, right, they can make the beer also, okay? You can see the beer. So whenever you open the canned beer, right, you can hear the sound like this. So actually this is the carbon dioxide being released from the can. Okay, so Emma, do you drink the alcohol before? Do you drink beer before? I think you didn't, right? No, okay. So when you grow, you can try, okay? Beer. So that's why this is the product of the respiration, okay? It will be two kind, albic and the anaerobic. Yeah, well done. Okay, we continue. So it's very important that when you learn the biology, right, you should do the exercise also, okay? So that's why you should you can know that you understand or not. Okay, great. And then we do next questions. Let me show another question. So this is basically about IGCSE questions. And then, okay, this one. Yeah, have a try. Which characteristic of living organism is responsible for the production of oxygen in the leaf of a plant exposed to sunlight? See, produce oxygen exposed to sunlight in the leaf, in the plant. Produce oxygen. Yeah, they will just produce oxygen, and then they will just absorb the sunlight. So this process is which one?
C?
Yes, well done. Okay, one thing about why you choose C? Is because?
Because the production of oxygen?
Yes. So this is process about photosynthesis, and then photosynthesis is kind of nutrition, which is a kind of the autotrophic nutrition. Yeah, well done. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. So later I'll just give you some homework you can try. So for the homework, okay, let me show you this one. Okay, for the homework. Yeah. So the homework will be usually do in this way. Because I want to save your time. So that's why later I'll just give you the link. Okay, I think I just sent to your mom now. I just give you the link later, the homework. And then after you enter the link, right, you can just go here. Okay, and then you can enter your name. For example, I just enter. And then you can go to do the question already. See? And then you can choose, you can pick the answer. Okay, pick the answer. And then while you are doing, right, you can check your answer also. And then after that, you will submit. So when you submit, and then my system here, right, I can view on your submissions and also your mark. Okay, it'll be more easier for you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. And then now I think we can continue about next topic. Okay, which is this one. Okay, the classifications. What's mean about classifications? Okay, because right, we as a living organism, there's a lot of many types of living organisms. Okay, so we should be able to classify them. Okay, based on their characteristic. And then before that, we don't talk about what the species. What do you mean by species? Okay, species. The species they are referring to the group of the organism. Okay, they can reproduce to produce a fertile offspring. Okay, which is a group of organisms which is from the same species, right? They can interbreed to each other. 它们可以互相交配、互相繁殖 so they can produce offspring. Offspring means 后代 okay 后代 so and then most important that this offspring is fertile. What's mean by fertile?
Like you can reproduce?
Yeah, correct. So it means that this offspring they have the ability to reproduce again. Yeah. So that's why they must be the same species. Species is called what? 品种. Yeah, 品种. Okay, so that's why species, right, they can be classified in the group by the feature they are sharing. Okay, for example, I mean they can categorize the species based on their they can categorize the species based on their external feature. Okay, for example, whether they are they have a hair or they don't have hair, whether they have ear or they don't have the external ear pinnae, something like that. Okay, and then now we talk about the naming, okay, which calls a binomial system. So each species have their unique scientific name. So their name, right, consists of two characters, genus and the species. Okay, so just like this, so you can see, right, two characters, genus and the species. Okay, and then they are actually classified based on this kind of system, okay, we call it linear system of classifications. And then starting from here, okay, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, this one you don't need to memorize, but for the mnemonic, it's just like this, okay. Okay, just remember like this, okay. Keep, on, clean, okay, clean, or brought, get, say, yeah. So you can see from starting from here, this kingdom. So this kingdom, right, actually is a general, I mean, it is a general classifications, which is we have about how many kingdom? 5 kingdom, okay. So animal is just one of it. Okay, let me show you. We have about actually 5 kingdom, which is here. Let me show you. It's about in another topic. Here you can see. Later we'll learn about 5 kingdoms. Which is the animals, plants, fungi, protists, and this monera. This monera they are referring to the bacteria, any kind of bacteria. So you can see these 5 kingdoms. And then we go back. So that's why from the 5 kingdom, right? Because 5 kingdom is just a very broad, it's just a very broad classification. So that's why they need to group that and then based on their classification, their characteristic, and then they'll become more narrower and narrower. So you can see from the kingdom and then to a class, order, family, and then until they reach here. Okay, but your exam, in the IGCSE exam, they will only include here only, genus and species. Okay, they will only include genus and species only. So that's why you can forget this one, okay, from kingdom and the family, right? You can forget it. They will not ask this one. But I just want to show you how they just group then become more narrower and narrower until they become species. Because, right, only the species they can interbreed to each other, produce the fertile offsprings. This is the most important thing. So that's why species is just very important. You want to ensure the species they can just interbreed to each other to produce to produce a fertile offsprings, which can have their next generations. Okay. So the species, okay, their name is just like this. For example, Homo sapien. So you can see, right? Homo sapien. Okay, Homo is what? Homo is genus. So the first character will be the genus. The second character will be the species name. Homo sapien. Yeah. Oh, and then you should know how to write the species name. Okay, so genus, right? The first character they always given with a capital letter, and then the second character, right? They always started with the lowercase the lowercase letter. Yeah. So this is their way of writing. It's just very important to know. So, and then most important thing is whenever okay, let me show you an example. Do I have one example? Okay, later. So it's very important to know that you only can allow the same species to interbreed. So what happens if there will be like the genus is same but the species is different? Can they interbreed to each other to produce a fertile offspring? The answer is no. So that's why you must be these two things same. Okay, especially this one. So means that the Homo sapien can interbreed with another Homo sapien to produce the offspring Homo sapien. Okay, something like this. So you cannot to have two different species to interbreed each other. You will not able to produce a fertile offspring. Okay, that's all. And then okay. So naming is just part of how the scientific, how the scientists group the organism based on the classifications. And then now we go to learn about another kind of the classifications. So actually we have about this one, okay? You call it a evolutionary relationship. So actually they will just trace back the evolutionary relationship by using the DNA sequencing. Yeah. So you see, they are using the DNA, right, to classify the organism. Okay, so actually, right, they just classify based on about the three type. Okay, three kind of ways. So for example, right, they can classify based on their external feature. I mean, the scientists, right, they just observe their morphology or their body anatomy. Morphology is just observe their external feature. For example, whether you can see this bird and the bats, right? Yeah, they have a, okay, the bird, right, they have a feather, but the bat, right, they don't have feather, just have a fur on it. So it's like even though both can fly, but due to the difference in the external feature, right, so we can assume that it might be not come from the same or similar ancestor. Ancestor called as what? 祖先 有祖先. So that's why this is a morphology, which is you just observe by your eyes, observe their external body features. Okay, the second one is anatomy. Anatomy is just like they just observe their bone structure. So you can see, right, this is the bone structures for different living organism. So for the human, or for the cat or dogs, or for the, I think this is something like yeah or whale, it's kind of fish, and then this is a bat. So you can see, right, they have different in their bone anatomy. Okay, so but more closer evolutionary relationship, right, will be here and here, this and this. Okay, because you can observe their bone structure, right, this will look more similar to this. This and this as they look more different. Okay, so this is by the anatomy. Anatomy is what? Anatomy called 解剖学. So you will study the bone structures. So first morphology, second one anatomy, and now we come into DNA sequencing. So that's why this is the modern approach, okay? Because and then nowadays, right, they're actually using the DNA sequencing to study the evolutionary relationship for certain populations. Yeah, they just use this DNA sequencing. So that's why they need to collect the body sample from the humans or the animals. So in the DNA sequencing, right? Oh, okay. I think this picture is a bit issue. So sorry. Because DNA sequencing, we talk about the base sequence, okay? The nucleotide base sequence. Nucleotide base sequence is just like this, okay? It refers to this. Can you see this one? The alphabet inside. Can you see this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is called nucleotide base sequence. Nucleotide base sequence. Because, right, for the DNA are found inside the nucleus. Okay, Emma, maybe you can tell me what is the function of nucleus? What do you think about function of nucleus? What nucleus will do? Nucleus, they will store the DNA inside, okay? And then what DNA will do? DNA, right, they can store the DNA information, and then they can ask the cell to do anything they want to do. So DNA is just like the boss, okay, the boss. So that's why they will just give the order to the cell. So that's why the cell, right, they can do their thing, which is, for example, the cell, they can produce proteins or products. So this is due to the DNA, okay? The DNA asks them to do like this. So that's why inside DNA, right, they consist a lot of genetic information in form of the nucleotide base sequence. So you can see here's a nucleotide base sequence, like A, T, C, G. But I think this picture is sorry, this picture is got some problem, because we talk about DNA, right? We talk about what? The complement base pairing. For example, DNA is just like this, okay? DNA is double stranded, right? DNA is just like this, okay? Double stranded. Okay, double stranded. And then between DNA, there will be the base pair, okay? Base pair. So this will cause what? The complementary base pairing. You can write it down. Complementary base pairing. Okay. Why? Because this complementary base pairing, right, they will have about like this one. A pair with this T. And then C pair to G. Just remember AT, right? It's upper tree, okay? Just remember upper tree. So it means that whenever there's a sequence, right, come in this way, for example, like, you can see, I mean, on one strand, they just come this way, for example, T, G, G, C, A. So there'll be another strands like this, A to T, okay, A to T, T to A, and then C, G, T. Yeah, so this is another strand. So this is called complement-based pairing, which is A, they will always pair with T. C, they will always pair with G's, or in the inverse way, like T to A, G to C.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's why they will study this DNA sequencing, because if the different organism they share the similar DNA sequence, that means that they are sharing the closer relationship. They might become from Western common ancestor. Take for example, right? This, okay. So you can see you have about 3 organisms, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you can see organism number 1 and 2, right? They share very similar sequence. For example, Emma, you and your mother, okay. So Emma, organism 1 is you. This is you, okay. This is your mother. And then this is me. This is me. So that's why you must be share the similar DNA sequencing with your mother, because your mother just give birth to you, right? And then my DNA sequence will be different from you, because we come from different family, just like this way. So that's why the more similar the DNA base sequence, right? So you need to compare. Okay, you need to compare the base sequence. Okay, like this A, T, G, C, C, whether it's same or there's some difference. If there will be more and more different, right? That means that there will be lesser. There will be lesser closely related to each other. So that's why generally, if there is a more similar DNA base sequence between 2 species, the more closely related they are. Okay, they are. So that's why you need to compare the sequence. So organisms, they are grouped based on their common ancestry. So they will just analyze and compare the sequence of base in the DNA of different organisms. So that's why usually, right, DNA sequencing are very useful tool to identify the crime in the crime scene. Okay, that's all. Yeah, and then you can read about sound. Okay, and then I want to show this one. Yeah. The species, okay, when they show more similar base sequence in the DNA of these 2 species, the more closely related these 2 species are. Okay, so that's why if you want to compare, right, you can see this is about how many organisms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 organisms. So you can have a look, is like which one is more closely related to each other. So that's why you need to start to compare their base. Okay, so if you compare, right, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you compare the second one, for example, this and this, okay, the first one is different already, and then here is also different. Other base is just the same, just same. And then this is different. This is different. Okay, so you have about 4 base different compared to the second one. And then how about third base? Third base, right? Okay, is almost the same in the first base. Yeah, and then this is different. So just one base different. Okay, so that's why you can make a conclusion like species 2, right? They share more. They share more closely related evolutionary relationship to species 3 compared to species 1. Because they just only have one base difference only. Okay, so why important? What is the importance of the DNA base sequence? Because DNA base sequence, right, they are used to codes. Okay, this is code for the amino acid sequence in the proteins. Yeah. So they're just like this. Okay, for example. Okay, because see, this is a DNA, right? You can say this is a DNA, and then what DNA would do? So this DNA, right, okay, is a double-stranded. And then whenever a DNA, okay, just imagine DNA is located inside nucleus. DNA is just like a library, okay? DNA, right, is just a very large and complex molecule, no ending one. Just imagine it this way. Yeah, so you can see this is a DNA, right, okay, in the nucleus. So it's just like no ending. Very large and very complex. So whenever whenever the cell, right, they want to produce a protein product, they need to copy the genetic information found inside DNA. Because the DNA, right, what's the function? DNA, okay, the function is they store the genetic informations. DNA, okay, they'll just store the genetic informations to produce, okay, to provide a guidelines to produce the protein product. So that's why inside the DNA, they will have a genetic information. And then those genetic information, they just exist in form of the nucleotide base sequence, the ATCG. So if you want to starting to produce the proteins, okay, the protein product, for example, enzyme, like how a body cell, right, to produce an enzyme. So that's why the DNA, right, they need to be activated again. So DNA, they'll just undergo what? Unwind, okay, they just unwind a certain part of DNA, just like this, okay, here, just here, they just unwind. So it will just open up and they become like this. Okay, so you can see here's how the DNA they just unwind. We call it uncoil or unwind. Open the same, okay, you can say uncoil or unwind. So after that, the DNA, right, okay, they will just produce a messenger RNA. So you can see here's a short strand of messenger RNA being produced. Yeah, like this, okay. This is a messenger RNA. See, the mRNA for messenger RNA. So messenger RNA, they can just form a complement base pairing with the DNA. Okay, they just do a base pairing with DNA, right? And then the RNA, right, is different in their base sequence. RNA is about AUCG. A to U, C to G. There's no T in the RNA. So that's why the U, right, they can pair to A to U. Okay? Because there's no T. I mean there's no T in the mRNA. So this is their difference in their base sequence. So after that, mRNA, right, what they do is just want to copy. They want to copy the genetic information from DNA. Why they need to produce the mRNA? Because mRNA, right, you can see mRNA is just shorter and simpler strand compared to the DNA. DNA, they cannot go out. You know, DNA is just very large, very complex. So they just cannot go out. So if they cannot go out, how they can transmit the information to the ribosome to make the proteins? So that's why they require the help from the mRNA. So mRNA, they just help to copy the DNA, right? They just have to copy the information from the DNA, like how they will make the protein later. So they just copy out and then they just go out. See, they just go out. So they go out from the nucleus to the cytoplasm. See, from the nucleus, right? So here's the nucleus. Just get to the cytoplasm. And then the cytoplasm, right, they'll find what? Ribosome. Okay, ribosome. So just imagine, ribosome, right, the function is do what? Synthesis of proteins. Just do this. Synthesis of proteins. Because ribosome is an organelle to produce the proteins. But ribosome cannot produce a protein without the information from the DNA. So that's why the ribosome, right, they just listen the information from DNA on how to produce the proteins. So that's why the ribosome, they will just bind to the messenger RNA. Because messenger RNA, right, they just get the information from DNA. So that's why mRNA, the messenger RNA, they're just acting like the middle person. They help to bring the information, okay, from the DNA to the ribosome. Because ribosome, they can just bind to mRNA. So when the ribosome bind to the mRNA, right, they can form the base pairing, okay? So you can see, right, we call it what? Complement base pairing again, which is AUCG. This one, complementary base pairing. Base pairing. So that's why the ribosome, right, okay, just like the chef, right? The chef, what they'll do, the chef will just prepare the ingredients to make the food later. So ribosome, they just prepare the amino acids. So they can help to join the amino acid together by the bond, become what? Become a polypeptide chain. And then the polypeptide chain, right? This one, polypeptide chain, right? Polypeptide chain. They can just fold together, become a protein product. So this is the function of ribosome. They can help to join the amino acid together, become the polypeptide chain. So in this polypeptide chain, they can further modify and become proteins products. So what kind of protein product that we learned before? For example, enzyme. You know, Emma, enzyme is a kind of protein product. You learned about enzyme before, right? Have you heard of enzyme before? Enzyme.
A little bit.
Or a little bit, okay. For example, like protease or lipase. Enzyme means 酶. I mean the digestive enzyme, 消化酶啊。Like
Yeah.
the 以前你学过什么胰淀粉酶、蛋白酶 something like that. So that's why those enzyme, right, is productions of the body cell by using the amino acid. Because enzyme is a kind of protein, okay? Enzyme is a kind of protein. So that's why in generally, okay, to summarize, to just summarize for you, right? So just imagine DNA is just like a big library inside your nucleus, and then inside DNA, right, they just store a lot of information. They store a lot of genetic information, okay, which they will make the proteins 就是说那个 DNA 好像一个图书馆这样子，它就很多这个资讯，很多很多很复杂。可是，然后你现在是要去做那个certain 的那个 protein 对吗？just like 它就是要去，比如说参考那个 certain 的那个食谱对吗？所以你要它就是说你要去做菜对吗？你要去做菜，你只是要做什么菜？你只要做一个西餐而已对吗？你还有其他的食谱，还有什么中餐日本餐、韩国餐食谱，在这个 DNA 这个大大的这个图书馆里面。然后现在你要去做那个西餐对吗？然后你要把这个食谱带出来对吗？带给这个 ribosome， 因为 ribosome 是这个厨师，对不对？所以你要怎样带出来 ？DNA 很大 ，too large already cannot go out， so that's why you require the help from the messenger RNA. Okay, so that's why messenger RNA they just bring out. Okay, they how to copy the information. Just how to copy the information on how to make the 西餐 okay, and they just bring out, and then they just go to ribosome. So ribosome, right, they just read on the information from the ribosome. Sorry, the ribosome, right, they just read on the information from the messenger RNA. They can just starting to join the MSC together. Okay, and then they will form the polypeptide chain. Yeah, so this is process about what? See, from the DNA become RNA become protein, right? It's a process about the transcriptions become, and then they'll just do the translation. Transcription is the process on how the DNA they will just transform itself become the mRNA. So that's why mRNA, right? Okay, mRNA, messenger RNA, okay, is a copy of gene in the DNA. Yeah, in the DNA. Because DNA is just very long strands, very large, very complex. So they just want to copy a just short length of the DNA. Just a short length of DNA. Like this. So you can see, right? See? A short length of DNA. Just this portion only. Okay? 就是这一段而已被抄出来它的那个 information. Not whole part of DNA just a short length of DNA. So this is we call it a transcription, okay? So later we go to translation. So that's why translation is like happen in the ribosome. So the ribosome, right, they can just do what? They can just do the protein synthesis. Yeah, based on the mRNA sequence. Yeah, based on mRNA sequence. Okay, they'll become finally a proteins. Yeah, a protein product. So example of protein product is like the enzyme, okay? The enzyme, the antibody, the hormones. Okay. So come on, we try this question, okay? We try these questions. Two animals, they have an identical sequence of amino acid in one of protein found in their cell. What does this indicate about this animal? A, B, C, D. Choose an answer.
What's amino acids?
Oh, okay. Amino acid is an ingredient to make the protein later. Okay, yeah, which is this one? See? Here. Yeah, it's an ingredient to make a protein. I think you learned before, right? 氨基酸，听过吗？氨基酸 amino acids.
No.
Oh, okay, 好。just like the glucose. Okay, so actually this is you learn in chapter 4. Let me show the chapter 4. What is mean by amino acid? Chapter 4, we talk about what biological molecule. This is another few topic later. Yeah. So just remember amino acid, right? Just an ingredient to make the protein. Oh. Okay, let me open the notes. Yeah. So this is the note generally. So you can see, right? Our biological molecule in our body, we have what? We have proteins, carbohydrates. Yeah. 碳水嘛，蛋白质. So that's why we require the monomer to build up. So that's why the monomer to build up the proteins, right, is the amino acid, 氨基酸, okay? Just like this. So just like this, see? This is an amino acid. So amino acid, they just join together, right, by the peptide bonds. Okay, amino acid just joined by the peptide bonds, they'll become the protein later. So the protein, right, they just further modify, yeah, become enzyme, become antibody. So far, do we understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so now, so what's the answer? Okay, yeah, okay, sorry, before that, let me describe the relationship between the proteins, DNA, yeah, to you. So it's just like this, generally, the process, right, okay, starting from this, when the DNA, okay, they just uncoil, and then they'll just form the mRNA, okay, second one, mRNA, right? So mRNA, they just copy the genetic information from DNA, from the nucleus, go to the cytoplasm, right? So they just go out, and then just meet the ribosome. So here is a ribosome, okay, here's a ribosome, and then ribosome, right, they can just allow the amino acid, okay, just join together, become the polypeptide change, okay? And then polypeptide chain become the proteins. So here's the sequence, okay, for the transition to the translations. So that's why you should know the relationship between the DNA and amino acids, which is the sequence in the amino acids. Emma, the sequence of amino acid, right, is actually determined by the sequence of the DNA base. Do you agree with me? The
Yeah.
sequence of amino acid. Okay, because right, this amino acid, right, is about you have about 20 type of amino acid in your body. 你有20种 amino acid 在你这个身体里面，20种20 type. And then this amino acid, right, they can just join in different sequence. If they are in different sequence, right, they can produce a different type of the proteins. Understand? Yeah, so that's why how you can determine a sequence of amino acids. So the sequence of amino acid, right, is just determined by the DNA, right? What kind of genetic information is in DNA? Okay, so that's why the relationship is just like this, like the sequence, okay? The DNA base sequence, okay? DNA base sequence. Just determine the amino acid base sequence, okay? Amino acid base sequence. And then they will determine what? The polypeptide, okay? Polypeptide change. And then they will determine the structures, the structure of the proteins. 蛋白质结构, okay? And then they will determine the function of protein. Just for your information, this is also you learn it in future. So we talk about protein, right? The protein, okay, the structure is just very important for proteins. Structure is just very important for proteins. Okay, so that's why if you alter the structure of protein, right, you destroy their functions, you affect their functions. Okay, so that's why how you can determine the structure of proteins, just it depends on the amino acid sequence. So that's why you have about 20 amino acids. So this 20 type amino acid, right, they can just join in different sequence. Okay, so that's why they will just produce different polypeptide change. Okay, like this. So the important point, this one you need to know, okay? DNA base sequence, any change in DNA base sequence, it will cause change in the amino acid sequence. That's all. Okay? Yeah, so your answer is which one? See, two animals, right? C. C? Your answer is C, right?
Yeah.
The answer is donkey. Okay, the answer is donkey. Okay. Do you know why? It's because that they talk about this. Okay, two animals, they have about identical sequence of amino acids. Identical means what? Almost the same. Okay, in one protein found in their cell, right? So that's why what does this indicate about this animal, right? So that's why it's donkey. Because they have a identical sequence of amino acids. So you see, they have a same amino acid sequence. So that means that they have a same DNA base sequence. If they have a same DNA base sequence, that means that they are sharing the common resin ancestor. Do you agree? 对吗？对不对？ Yeah. So you can see that the identical sequence of amino acid in the protein, right, suggests that this animal, they share a resin common ancestor. Yeah, so that's why the similarity in the amino acid sequence, right, they can just use to trace the evolutionary relationship. So they are not only use the DNA based sequence to trace, they actually can use the amino acid sequence to trace also. Yeah. Okay, because they know that the amino acid sequence, right, they can just reflect the DNA based sequence. Okay, so why C is not the answer? Because right, even though they are same genus, same genus, but they still have a difference in the DNA sequence and also the MSC sequence. Okay, genus, right? Let me show this one, okay? I want to show a picture. I forget to put here. You like cat? 你喜欢猫吗 ？Cats, okay? Cat have different genus. Different genus species. Let me show this one. This one, okay? Cats. And then most of the cat that you see, right, is a domestic cat, Felis catus. But you have other kind of cat species. I mean, the Felis species. See here. See? You have about the domestic cats, the African wild cat, the European wild cat. So you can see that they have a same genus name, Felis, right? But they are different in the species name, 对吗 Catus, Lipica, Silvertrees, Betty. Correct? Difference in their name. Yeah, so that's why, do you think, okay, since they have same genus, different species, do you think they can interbreed with each other to produce a fertile offspring?
No.
Yeah, no. Okay, for example, you want to like breed with this and this. Even though they are same genus, but they are different species, right? So that's why you can produce a hybrid offspring. Okay, so sometimes you will not able to produce a fertile offspring because you are different species. So that's why. So you can just imagine, see this DNA sequence in domestic cat, right? Compared to the African wild cat, right? Their DNA sequence, right, is not the same. There will be a great difference already because they are come from different species. Understand?
Yeah.
So that's why even though it's same genus but different species, but the DNA sequence, right, you not always share the same same trend, same pattern. Okay. Take note of this one, okay, because a lot of students also they just confused. Unless they just tell you it's the same species, then this one can be the answer. Because it's same genus, right? Same genus cannot be the answer. Same genus refer to the to the species itself, right? They still have a difference in their base sequence compared to other kind of species. Okay? Yeah, so I think we learned a lot for today already. Okay, are you okay? 你会觉得很多东西要学吗？还好吗？还可以明白吗？
明白。
明白了。好，有什么问题你都可以来问我啊。好，所以这个就是生物哦，这就是生物。所以你看它其实没有太难的，对吗？它没有太难，只是你要去懂那个 concept 就好。你在学的时候，都得抓住那个 concept 去理解。比如说，刚刚我们讲那个什么，我们要什么 same species only can interbreed different species but same genus cannot, right 这个是你要记得重点哦对吗restriction OK 它有什么？还有 LB 跟 NLB 它的 purpose 就是说去 release energy 所以你看你读的时候要去读清楚它这个重点，你就知道怎么去回答那个考试的考试的时候它就是类似这样的考题哦，对吗所以你看它其实也没有讲太难的，它没有讲太难所以这个是我的方式OK I will just ensure you understand the concept and then you need to do exercise because doing exercise is just very important, okay? And then the homework right, I'll just give at here, okay? This classwork. Let me show you, right? This is the example question, okay? And then you have fill in the blank. Yeah, you also can do the fill in the blank. So you can practice on how to use the correct answer. I mean correct keyword to answer the questions. Okay. That's about homework. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a homework. Okay, you can try to do it. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so see you next class. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.